Hello, you're watching Chattin' with Janine. I'm your host, State Representative Janine Nodder. You know, the government has a lot of different departments. I know about the House of Representatives and the State Senate and the Executive Council, but the departments, didn't realize there were so many. Today we're talking about the New Hampshire Insurance Department. I didn't even know we had one, but the Commissioner of the New Hampshire Insurance Department is here, so welcome, Commissioner Bettencourt.
Thank you so much. A pleasure to be with you.
So, can I call you DJ or
Absolutely.
do you want to call Commissioner?
Absolutely. We've known each other a long time.
I know,
We're on a first name
years,
basis.
very
Absolutely.
long time. In fact, I don't even remember when I met you. It's been so many years.
We served in the House together.
Yeah, but I knew you before that.
Yeah. We were running in the same circles, the same political circles. Absolutely.
Not hard to do in a small state.
Indeed.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, as you know, Janine, I first got my start in state government by being elected to the New Hampshire House of Representatives. I served there for 8 years. As you know, I served a term as Majority Leader.
That was my freshman term.
That's right. That's right. And then went into the nonprofit sector for a little while. And then my good friend, Chris Sununu, called me and said, I'm running for governor. I'd love your help with that. So I said, all right, for you, I'll do it. And then when he became governor, he asked me to join his team. And then from there, after 4 years as his policy director, in doing a lot of projects and important initiatives for the governor dealing with our state's insurance, he asked me to become the deputy commissioner of the New Hampshire Insurance Department. And I was in that role for about 2.5 years. And then the commissioner I was serving under decided to take an opportunity in the private sector. The governor asked me if I would consider becoming commissioner. And so I went through that process, and here I am today.
Wow. So what do you do as commissioner?
So I oversee a state agency, as you mentioned, and the New Hampshire Insurance Department oversees the regulation and applies the state laws to all commercial insurance being conducted in the state of New Hampshire.
What's an example of commercial insurance?
That'll range from everything from your auto insurance to your homeowner's insurance to life insurance, health insurance, although there's a caveat to that, to some other coverages that are a bit more niche. For example, if you've got an expensive piece of jewelry and you want to insure that, we'll oversee those products as well.
I've got some Dosecki beads that my husband got in a
there you go.
car one time.
Well, I think given the value of them, you'd probably get a pretty affordable premium. But things you wouldn't think of as well, such as travel insurance. If you're going on a trip and you want insurance in case something comes up and you can no longer go on that trip, we oversee those coverages as well. So it is a vast and diverse set of products that we oversee, and it really makes for a fascinating day-to-day experience as commissioner.
See, so I know absolutely nothing about any of this, so I'm learning from you, and so are my viewers if they also have no idea what you do and the insurance.
Sure.
So, all right, Lau, I have State Farm. Do you have anything to do with what they do at State Farm?
Absolutely. We oversee all of the insurance companies that are licensed to write insurance in the state of New Hampshire.
Oh, so that's interesting. I didn't know the government had a hand in any of that.
Yes, absolutely.
I thought they were their own private little entities. But
well, the legislature and the governor pass laws that dictate how insurance is to be conducted in the state of New Hampshire, and our department applies those laws.
So what committee would that go through? Commerce?
We spend a lot of time before the House Commerce Committee, yes.
Okay, so Representative John Hunt would know all about this.
Representative Hunt and I are very close.
Yeah. Were you on that committee in the House?
I was not.
Were you on Ways and Means?
I was on Ways and Means. Okay. I was on Judiciary. I was on Children and Family Law. I was a bit of a nomad. I wanted to take in as many experiences through the committee process as I possibly could to try to get a good, well-rounded understanding of how state government worked.
The late Steve Valancourt did that.
Yes.
Every term he would pick a different committee.
Absolutely.
So I don't like change. I like to just stay in one. And
well, you're getting a set of expertise in a particular field. That's very valuable. Yeah. That's very, very valuable.
It started out very, very foreign, like science, technology, and energy. But over the years, I've been there for, I think, 10 years now on that committee. Yeah, 5 terms, so that's 10 years. So I've learned quite a bit. So now I'm learning about insurance.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're not unlike the average citizen in New Hampshire, or really the average citizen in America. Typically, people know 2 things about insurance. They pay the premium, and their policy is locked away somewhere with the rest of important papers that they hope they never have to actually read. And there's a human psychology to that, because when you're engaging with your insurance coverage, it typically means that something bad has happened in your life. You've wrecked the car. A tree has come through your house. A family member's passed away, and you're trying to now locate the life insurance policy. So we don't like to think about those things in our lives that could happen that are bad. So we don't think about insurance in an in-depth way. The problem becomes is when those bad things happen, they carry with them a lot of stress. And it does not make for the opportune time to be trying to understand a very complex and technical document while you're under that stress. So one of the things that we really encourage consumers to do, a couple of things actually. The first is to make use of an independent insurance agent. There are a couple of different advantages to that. The first is that that independent agent has a more broad understanding and a more broad view of all of the types of insurance coverages that are out there, and most importantly, what the premiums for those coverages are. So they're going to help you get the best policy at the best price possible for whatever your particular dynamic is, whether it's for personal lines insurance for yourself, or whether you're a small business owner and you're looking for a set of coverages that are going to cover the work that you're doing. Additionally, they can write for a number of different companies, so that if you have a particular preference for one company for one coverage over the other, they're going to be able to write that for you. Also, they're going to sit down with you and understand your particular set of circumstances. So they're going to be able to identify what the best set of coverages is for you given your particular set of circumstances. But most importantly, perhaps, is they have the ability to sit down with you and go through your insurance policy and put it into English, put it into terms that you're going to understand, and help
That's
answer
important.
questions. Absolutely. All of that is going to help you gain what we call insurance literacy. And you want to do all of those things when you purchase the policy and not just when it comes time to file a claim.
So what's a typical day like for you?
Typical day, boy, there is no real typical day. We've got a wide diversity of things that kind of come at you at any given time. We'll have situations where we've got an individual who wants to become a licensed agent, who will bring his application forward, maybe has something in his background that gives us a little bit of pause. So we'll interview that person to make sure that they've got the requisite character, to be a carrier in New Hampshire. We will look at what the legislature is tossing at us in terms of legislation and go through that. We'll consider our own legislative initiatives based off of analysis of our current laws and where we think there are gaps and where we can strengthen consumer protection. I'll have meetings about the financial solvency of insurance companies. That's another thing that we do at the department. We make sure that the insurance companies are ensuring solvency, balancing their books, making sure that they've got profit there, because ultimately we want to make sure that they have the financial reserves to be able to pay claims. That's a core function of our consumer protection.
That's why you have insurance.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then on other days, our consumer division will come to us and say, we have gotten X number of calls over the last several days. It seems as though there may be a trend going on here with a problem with this particular company. Commissioner, what do you think we should do about that? How do you think that we should proceed in ensuring that we're rectifying whatever that problem is for those consumers? So we do a lot. And like I said, there's really never a boring day. You know, when I talk to friends and family about what I do, they say, boy, insurance, that sounds so boring. Look, I can't make it spicy, but it is interesting, and it is certainly important. I mean, without insurance, we would not be able to have anything resembling our current economy or society today.
My sister and brother-in-law, that was their job before they retired, was they had an insurance company. And she would explain things to me, and I would just look at her like deer in the headlights, like, and why aren't you a nurse anymore? She was a nurse before that. But all right, so I know people need insurance on their home, they need insurance for their cars, they have life insurance. Out of all the different things that you can insure, what do you suggest people absolutely should get?
Well, I think there are some core coverages. As you mentioned, you should have auto insurance, although New Hampshire has the distinction of being the only state in America that does not require auto insurance. To those who think New Hampshire is a little backwards that way, I would remind them that New Hampshire has one of the lowest uninsured motorist rates in the nation, despite the fact that government isn't mandating that. But certainly auto coverage, homeowners coverage for sure. If you have any kind of a family, life insurance is really important. Again, we don't like to think about what happens when we die, but it is important to think about if something were to occur, would I want to leave my family in a difficult financial position? And the answer to that, of course, is no. I would not want to do that. So life insurance is important as well. Finding good health insurance coverage is important. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's a bit of a caveat in terms of our oversight of health insurance in New Hampshire. We do not oversee the government programs, so we do not oversee Medicare or Medicaid. That's dealt with by the federal government and by the State Department of Health and Human Services. They oversee those programs. Additionally, as you know, the vast majority of Americans get their health insurance coverage through their employer. The vast majority of those employers, especially if they're mid-sized to large-sized companies, they're going to be self-insured. And they can do that via a federal law called the acronym is ERISA. I can never remember
ERISA?
What that's long for, but or what's that's short for, but that's overseen by the federal government. We see the fully insured commercial market. So that's your individual market, that's your small group market, and then again your commercial, fully insured large group market as well, which when you take all of those individuals together represents about 30% of New Hampshire's health insurance market.
So out of the different health insurances that are available in New Hampshire, which isn't a lot, can you tell me which ones are better?
Well, I can't give you opinions on certain things, though I have them, of course. What I am proud of is that New Hampshire, for its size, has a robust competitive market in health insurance. We have 3 carriers in our individual market. There are strong rumors, and I'm cautiously optimistic, that within the next year we'll have a 4th carrier there as well.
Competition's good.
We love competition. It gives the consumer choice. It gives them the ability to contrast the types of coverage that they can get, what those networks look like versus what the premium's going to be. So we like the fact that consumers have options. On what we call the property and casualty side of the house, so that's auto, home, those types of things, we have a very, very competitive market. We have over 100 carriers writing homeowners insurance in New Hampshire. And again, we're a state of approximately 1.36 million people. So it's great that we have that kind of competition in a state that in reality represents nationwide less than 0.5% of the total written premium in America. Companies are not looking to break into New Hampshire and do business in New Hampshire because there are untapped financial windfalls to be had here. They want to do business in New Hampshire because we're a good place to do business. The New Hampshire Insurance Department has developed a reputation over many, many years. I can't take full credit or even half the credit of using common sense and being business friendly. We of course have to apply the laws and the rules of the state, and we do, but we also try to be innovative. We try to figure out how we can get to yes with companies. They want to do business in New Hampshire because we have high quality of life metrics across the board. So that's what makes New Hampshire attractive to so many of those companies. And the benefit for the consumer, as we mentioned, is lots of competition, which again increases the quality, hopefully, of the service and the coverage while bringing down the cost.
I take advantage of the iVision insurance every year, and also dental insurance.
Absolutely.
So,
those are all critical coverages for our overall health.
How's the competition in those areas?
Not bad. Not bad. For eye, very competitive. For dental, less competitive, but there are still options.
Are there any types of insurance out there that people really don't need, could get away with not having?
Well, sure. I mean, I think that, again, an independent agent will walk you through what you need. We oversee annuities. Those are types of insurance products, but there's a financial part to that as well. Depending on an individual's background, what type of annuity or whether or not they should pursue
And just
an
explain
annuity.
what annuity is.
Sure, it's an investment of sort. It's an investment of sort. And
For retiring?
Yep, exactly. And what those yields are, again, are going to be dependent on what your background is, what you're hoping to achieve, the type of financial security that you're looking for. When we talk about life insurance, again, I think it's a core coverage that people should seriously consider, especially if they have families. But the type of life insurance, again, is going to be dependent on your particular situation, whether you want a term life insurance policy or a full life. That's going to, again, depend on what your situation is and what you're willing to pay in terms of premium.
The Knights of Columbus have a good insurance program.
They do, and we oversee them. Those are considered fraternal insurance opportunities. We oversee those. They do a great job. They really do.
Can we talk about probate?
Sure.
So, well, here's an example to make it personal. I have a friend in town. Her father died, and just suddenly he was, I guess, clearing the snow off the driveway and had a heart attack and died. And she almost lost the house because she did. It was very, very difficult, to have to, find a will, go through probate, and it took 9 months. And she's lucky she got to keep the house. And there were so many problems, so many things that needed to be fixed. What can we do to fix that, to make it not so painful?
Sure. Well, that's a little outside the scope of the insurance department. I think that you're absolutely right, that process can be very laborious and can take a long time. I'll share with you that my deputy commissioner within the past several months lost his father, and he is still going through the probate process despite the fact that his father had very, very few assets. Really, his home was his one true asset. And going through that has been very time-consuming, very complicated, and expensive. I think ultimate reform rests with you and the legislature, working with the judiciary to figure out how you can make that process smoother and less of a headache for the individuals who sadly have to go through it. One of the things that we do focus very carefully on in our department is ensuring that when an individual passes away and that life insurance policy is in place, that the family gets the proceeds of that life insurance as quickly as possible. And we help consumers go through and understand the documentation that they have to turn over to the company. So again, we can get that claim processed as quickly as possible, get that payout to the family.
What's the average wait right now? Is it 9 months or longer?
For a life insurance policy? Yeah. Gosh, I hope not. We can usually get that turned around within about a month or two.
Wow. All right, so I'm just recapping everything we've talked about thus far. We have about 10 minutes left. So absolutely you should have health insurance, life insurance, home and
auto.
Vehicle, home and auto.
Yep, those are the core. Those are the core coverages. Again, depending on your situation, you may want to consider other protections as well, but those are the big four.
What about flood insurance? Do we have that in New Hampshire?
So, very important topic. Very happy you brought that up. As you know, we had an incredibly rainy summer last year, and we had 2 counties in our state, Cheshire County and Sullivan County, that were underwater, were hit incredibly hard by flooding this past July. As you may recall, those counties were hit really hard, but Vermont, the entire state, was underwater. And I will tell you that when I received calls from...
Not only are they upside down, they were underwater.
That's right. Yes. That's right. Little inside joke there at the expense of our twin state over to the west. I will tell you that some of the most difficult conversations that I had with consumers was that July, when I would get a call from somebody in Cheshire County who said, the river jumped its banks, it took my home with it. What do I have for coverage? I have flood insurance coverage under my underlying homeowner's insurance, right? And I had to say no. People need to understand that flood is not covered under your homeowner's policy. You have to purchase a separate flood policy. And you could do that in 2 ways. There is a commercial market that you can access to get that coverage, but there is also the National Federal Flood Insurance Policy that people can also access if they are in a particular area of risk that a commercial insurance company is not willing to write that risk. The federal flood insurance plan is there as a backup. We strongly encourage people to consider flood insurance. Everybody is at risk of flood. It's only a matter of how much you are at risk.
You know, we have a pond in the back of our house, and I look at it sometimes and I go, well, for us to get to flood, I don't think it's likely. I should knock on wood when I say that, because it has to come up a hill, and there's also a ravine. So I think the neighbors would get flooded before we would. But, you know, anything's possible.
Anything is possible. Yeah. And again, they're going to come out and underwrite that. So what that means is they're going to come out, look at the property. They're going to assess the risk of flood to your home. And if that risk is low, as you describe it, then you're going to get a policy where the premium is very, very affordable. And so for that little amount of money per month, you're going to have peace of mind that, God forbid, that pond should swell and come into your home, you're going to have protection and coverage.
What about fire insurance? Is that covered under
that
those
will be
policies?
That will be covered under your homeowner's insurance policy, yes.
So most people already have that. What about hurricanes? I mean, not likely, but it has happened here before.
Sure.
Hurricanes, tornadoes.
So most storm-related damage will be covered as part of your homeowner's policy. The standard by which something is covered, and again, this is a broad generalization, you've got to really dig into your policy to understand what's included and what's excluded. But the typical trigger is the incident sudden and accidental? So that's to be distinguished from a long-running leak, say in your bathroom, that developed over a long period of time. That's not going to be covered because that's not sudden and accidental. However, that storm that comes in, that cyclone burst, if you will, well, obviously that's sudden and it's accidental because you are not in control of it. None of us is in control of the weather, of course.
Nature. Yeah.
So most of those storm-related damages are going to be covered under your homeowner's insurance policy. But again, the big one to remember is flood.
Frozen pipes?
Frozen pipes should be covered.
All right. So what am I forgetting?
I don't know. I think we've gone through the list of horribles. I feel like we're watching that commercial with the guy who does all of the disasters and gets people in trouble.
Yes, Mayhem.
Yeah, Mayhem.
Yeah.
Mayhem like me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even think about it. I like the little guy.
Yep.
The little, what is he? Little salamander guy?
Yep, that's the gecko.
The gecko.
Geico's gecko, absolutely. Yeah. And look, again, I would stress, those companies are obviously providing opportunities for people to get coverage. We encourage people to get coverage however best suits them. But again, one of the things we'd really stress is there is a huge advantage to consumers using independent agents. Because again, they're going to get to know you.
What's an example of an independent agent? Dan Bantham, State Farm?
So you'll see independent insurance agencies all around. In fact, as I was driving in from Concord today, I saw two of them right here in Merrimack. Mm-hmm. They're clearly distinguishable. They'll say insurance agent or insurance agency. And again, those independent agents have the ability to write for many, many different companies. So they're going to sit down with you and again, get to know who you are, get to know your particular dynamics, and then be able to identify those companies that are best suited to meet your needs and the protection that you need at the price that's most affordable to you. Again, they'll do the same thing with businesses. And the advantage is, again, they're getting to know you, and they're forming a partnership in a relationship with you. And you don't necessarily get that when you see the commercial on television and they say, we're going to get you a quote in 60 seconds or 90 seconds or less. And again, if what you're looking for is very straightforward and you want quick coverage, then by all means take advantage of that. But if you want somebody who's going to get to know you and your particular dynamics, the independent agent is someone who will be able to do that for you.
Renter's insurance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we used to get that when we rented before we bought a house.
Smart. You want to treat that exactly as you would your homeowner's insurance coverage. You want that protection that, God forbid, something should happen. You're protected, and the belongings within that condo or apartment, whatever you're renting, is protected as well.
When we lived in California, our house was robbed.
Oh gosh.
And I mean, we didn't even have a lot. They took my jewelry box, which I didn't even have anything really that was expensive, just sentimental.
Yeah.
Like a little pin that was given to my son when he was baptized by his godfather.
Oh,
so
gosh.
that was, little things like that. But I didn't even notice right away. I went to iron, and the iron was gone. I'm like, why is my iron gone? Why? Who steals an iron?
Who steals an iron? That's
well, they
bizarre.
stole my iron and my jewelry box, and just but it added up.
Sure.
The things added up.
Sure.
But I was anxious to leave that state after that.
In those situations, what you want to do is to inventory all of the things that are valuable in your home, so that if the home burns down, if there is a hurricane or a tree comes through and destroys a bunch of things, if you're robbed, you're able to catalog all of the things that were in your home that were destroyed or were taken, and be able to put some sort of valuation on those things.
How do you suggest you do that? Take pictures?
Take pictures.
And then put them in the safe?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Take pictures of those things.
My
Keep
dog.
any documentation associated with those things handy as well. Because as I said, God forbid something should happen where those things are destroyed. It's going to make the process of getting your claim paid out from your insurance company a lot faster and a lot smoother.
Mm-hmm. Well, DJ, we have just 2 minutes left. Is there anything else you would like to say that we didn't cover?
We are here as a resource, and we are working really hard. And it's one of the reasons that I came on the show. You and I are friends, so I wanted to see you again. But one of the things that we're doing is trying to get out across the state, get out of the bubble of the New Hampshire Insurance Department, get outside of the bubble of Concord, and get into the communities and have conversations like this so that consumers know that the New Hampshire Insurance Department exists, that we are a resource to them, that we can help them, and share with them how they can get in touch with us. And so we obviously can't help the consumer that doesn't know that we're here. So we take the opportunity to describe what the department does. We are a resource for consumers. We have 7 individuals in the department who spend all day, every day that they're in the department, taking in consumer calls and helping to triage issues and solve problems for consumers that they're having with their insurance company. I would say out of the 6,000 calls approximately the department gets per year from consumers, all but 500 of them are questions about their policy, trying to understand some term in their policy, trying to understand what's covered in their policy. We can help with that. We can help with that education piece. Approximately 500 of those calls do turn into formal complaints against their insurance company, and we help to pursue those issues on behalf of the consumer and try to get a successful resolution for the consumer. So we do all of those things for citizens across New Hampshire, and so we want them to take advantage of us. We want them to come to us when they have questions or when they have issues that need to be resolved, and have them put us to work for them.
So just an internet search for New Hampshire Insurance Department?
Well, they can always do that, but I've got my card here with our consumer service information. I brought the card to make sure I got it right. So they can call 800-852-3416. Again, that's 800-852-3416. If they prefer to email, they can email consumerservices@ins.nh.gov. Again, that's consumerservices@ins.nh.gov. And they can visit our website at nh.gov/insurance, and they can file complaints right on our website.
Well, thank you for coming to Merrimack, Commissioner Bettencourt.
It is my
Thanks for being
pleasure
on
as
the
always.
show.
Thank
It's
you
good
so much for
catching up
having
with
me.
you.
Absolutely.
And thank you for watching.